All right guys, in today's video, I'm gonna show you why you should tilt before you turn to make sure that you have the perfect backswing and downswing. I'm gonna show you what I did with a recent student of mine, give you a couple drills to put this in your swing as well. Before we start, just a quick word from today's video sponsor. We'd like to thank Element for sponsoring today's video. To perform at your physical best every single day, proper hydration is key. Drinking water and using a regular electrolyte replacement needs to be a part of your regular golfing preparation. Element is a drink that replaces essential electrolytes without sugar, coloring, gluten, or artificial ingredients. It contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium, formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs. Right now, Element is offering my viewers a sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element order. This is a great way to try all 8 flavors or share Element with a friend. You can get yours at drinkelement.com/ecgolf, and the deal is only available through this link. To perform at your physical best every single day, proper hydration is key. All right guys, so during the backswing, right, I was working with a recent student of mine on making a perfect backswing and downswing, and I asked him, how do we define a perfect backswing to set us up for a perfect downswing? And really there's 2 parts or 2 components to this to make the perfect backswing. Number 1, I would say, is the ability to make a full turn. And number 2, I would say, is the ability to maintain our inclination to the ground. That just means the distance I start from the ball or the ground with my torso, I want to remain that same distance during the backswing. So a perfect backswing, so I have nothing to make up for on the way down, is a full turn while being able to maintain that inclination from the ground. That's the goal. Now, if that's true, how do we get those elements? How do we get a full turn during the backswing? You just do a full turn, right? That part's pretty simple, okay? Full rotation. But what's a little bit trickier is how do I do a full turn but maintain that inclination to the ground? And the answer to that is tilt. And when I say tilt, what I mean is your left shoulder getting closer to your left hip. That's going to tilt the upper body, and being able to change the knee flex, increasing the knee bend to tilt the pelvis. So it's your shoulders that have to tilt and your hips that have to tilt. And I'll explain how we do those as we go. So full turn while maintaining your inclination to the ground. That's so important here. Full turn while maintaining your inclination to the ground. Now the same thing is true for the downswing, but for the backswing. So the student that I had and a lot of the members that we work with, in an effort to make a full turn, and see if you're like this, I fall in this trap sometimes too. In an effort to make a full turn from the face on, if we draw a circle around my head, if we just did the turn and not enough tilt, what would happen is my head would start to work more and more and more and more away from the target. So I made a full 90-degree turn, didn't I? But my head's way behind the ball. Now, when my head's way behind the ball, could I make up for that sometimes? Maybe. But I'm probably going to have some issues when I come down with solidness of contact. When we watch the best players, like I'm going to show you here on the screen, when we draw a circle around their head, they're able to make a full turn, and what happens to their head? They stay right in the circle. Well, how do I not move outside of the circle from the face on, and also from the down the line? If I look at the circle around my head, if I just turn, right, if I just turn with no tilt, my head moves away from the target and away from the golf ball, right? We can see that clearly, just turning. Well, Eric, I thought I was supposed to have a big turn. You are, but you're also supposed to have good tilt when you do it. And when you tilt, left shoulder down, left knee forward, which I'll show you in a minute, you're gonna be able to do that. So drill number 1 for the gentleman I was working with, he had a pretty good turn. He was clearly trying to turn, head was outside of the circle, shoulders too flat. It's the same thing I run into. You get the turn part, but you don't get the tilt part. So anytime you have too much of one element, you need to feel more of the other element just to get to normal. We said we need turn and tilt. We've got plenty of turn already for the student and me. We need to feel more tilt. So what I did was I said, hey, let's put a club across your shoulders with the grip end towards the target like this. And I want you to take a setup position and make a backswing where you do just the tilting. Just the tilting means get the grip down towards your left hip or your left shoe. Tilt 1. Now notice as I'm doing this, my head is working towards the target. Tilt 2. Now this time, as I'm going to tilt the third time, tilt 3, I'm also going to turn on my way back. And now all of a sudden, when I combine those two pieces, I've got a full turn while still keeping my head in the circle. I want to keep my head in the circle, just for a reference, to make it easier to hit the ball. Would it be easier to hit the ball solid if my head's moving all over the place or staying fairly centered? Do the best ball strikers move all over the place or stay fairly centered? I'll show you on the screen, they stay fairly centered. So the drill we did was called tilt, tilt, turn. Okay, and shout out to Zach Allen too. I wanted to mention this earlier. His video he did on this, the student actually sent to me. It was an unbelievable video. If you don't follow Zach Allen, he was the inspiration for this. He's got some good drills in the video as well. It's just a different variation. So tilt, tilt, turn. Club across, grip towards the target. Tilt it down towards the ground. I feel my left shoulder getting closer to my left hip without my hips going away from the target. Tilt number 2. Now I'm going to feel that same thing and turn. Now that puts me in a pretty strong position, right? So 2 tilts where you're just tilting and then you add the turn in, put the club in, and now feel the same thing. I'm going to feel the left shoulder going down as it goes back. And we're going to show you some visuals on the screen from face on and down the line. If you drew a circle around my shoulder, like the Adam Scott or the other examples, it's got to go down and back, right? Down and back. So I'm feeling the down and back piece. Adding the tilt in with the turning is the goal. Tilt and turn. And the goal there when we did that with the student and for myself as well was an improvement in the solidness and consistency of the contact. The one thing you, me, and everyone else wants when we go play is to hit the ball consistently solid. If you ever play and you lose it and the contact goes off, that to me is like the worst thing in the world, right? Golf is not enjoyable. When it is enjoyable is consistency of contact. What I'm telling you is if you can make a full turn while maintaining this inclination, you're going to get that consistency of contact. So one more time with this drill, club across, tilt, tilt, add the turn into it. And when I'm adding the turn in, this butt of the club, I feel like is getting behind the ball and pointed about in line with where my right foot is, right? That was the feel that the student we ended up with as a checkpoint. Tilt, tilt, add the turn. I just feel like I'm doing a little bit of like a left side oblique crunch. We're going to add in the knee part in a moment, but just the tilting and turning part. So tilt and turn, little left side oblique crunch. And the left shoulder feels like it goes down, right? Especially if we look at the tiger from this one, if I drew a circle around, the left shoulder clearly goes down, forward and back. Down, forward and back. And so that was drill number 1 we did. Let me just show you a simple feel we did as drill number 2. Okay, a simple add-on feel that I gave to the student I was working with was, hey, if we take our setup position, we can just drop the club for a second and put our hands in front, take your left hand and put it on your legs. Now, when you put it on your legs, it should be about mid-thigh here at the setup position. And what I wanted him to feel the tilting, because we're going to add in the knee now in a moment, is get your fingertips down towards your kneecap as you take your right palm and get it back behind you. So I'm sliding my hand down towards the ground sliding my left hand down towards the ground as my right palm goes up and back. This is giving me the tilting and still the turning. So I'm using my left side really to create that tilt and using this right side to continue on the turning. Now, part of why I like this simple feel, and we'll see this with the JT and the Tiger, I drew a little arrow from their knee and a circle around their shoulder. Notice the tilting doesn't just come from the shoulder, it also comes from the legs changing flex, meaning the left knee works slightly down and forward, or increases its bend as the left shoulder goes down to give me that increased tilt. So I'd like to feel a combination of those movements, and so did my student. The left shoulder is going to go down and back as the left knee goes forward. And what that does is from the down the line, if I drew a line right up my body, that keeps me able to make a full turn while also keeping my inclination to the ground. If I didn't have the left knee and left shoulder, all of a sudden I lose that inclination to the ground. Okay, so the left knee and left shoulder go down. I like the left knee to go back a little bit too, kind of the kneecap in line with the hip, but you can feel, more pretty much just straight down. So left shoulder down and back, left knee down and back. And if I do those pieces correctly, what you're looking for is to do it to the point where your head stays in the circle. So when I'm doing this drill, some people get nervous. Like, Eric, is that stack and tilt? Or am I gonna over tilt when I do it? I got all these worries. No, no, just draw a circle around your head, do that feel with turn, and stay in the circle. And that's not stack and tilt, that's not any swing philosophy, that's just a good golf swing, okay, the head in the circle. So if I had, again, I might, when you're doing the drill, go just forward. You're just exaggerating just the tilt. But as soon as I add the turn in, I'm no longer having my head go towards the target, right? It stays just in the circle. And I'm feeling the left knee bending as the left knee goes down. So you can utilize that drill. You can utilize a simple drill like this, which I like to feel that. One of the things one of our friends, JT Thomas, does is he says the same thing. Stand up, get your left hand, ride it down your side of your leg like this towards your kneecap. Boom, and now take that hand and get it behind your leg, like you're doing a little handshake. So you go tilt, tilt. Now take that tilt again and add some turn to it. So different feels to produce the same thing, but the point is the left knee goes down, or the lead knee. For you lefties, the lead knee and the lead shoulder go down and back to the point where your head stays just in the circle. You want to have a full turn and maintain that inclination. The full turn on the way back gives you enough power, okay, to hit it far enough. It also gets you deep enough to be able to swing from inside. The tilting, or the inclination to the ground, gives you the solidness of contact. So you're turning to hit it farther, higher, straighter, more draw bias, and you're tilting to hit it solid. Those are the two feels. If you're like me or the student I was working with, you want to utilize them. If you've got enough tilt, then you just do more of the turn piece. Figure out which one you need more of and do more to the point where your head stays in the circle, right? With a full 90-degree turn and maintaining your inclination to the ground, and record yourself and find those feels. Listen, any questions on this sort of stuff? Hopefully that was pretty simple. Leave a comment down below. If you want some guidance on your game and your swing, send swings into cogornogolf.com. Unbelievable value you get in there. Relative to what I'd charge for in-person lessons. It's just about as good and significantly less expensive. You get an awesome community, unbelievable resources. We can help you take your game to the next level. Appreciate you guys watching as always.